Give me one sec, guys. Just need to update the logo on the stream. Turn this one off. This one. And then we gotta turn off this one. There we go. Alright, awesome. Welcome to the WardiTV Spring Championship, guys. We're gonna do... Honestly, we might even just do a couple of best of threes. I'm not really decided just yet. But let's get this started up. As in the top right side of the map, we do have our red Zerg player. This is Solar from TvZ Gaming, taking on the blue Terran in the bottom left-hand side of the map. It is from Shopify Rebellion ByuN. So yeah, we will not go through all 10 best of threes that we have from the Spring Championship today. I'm not that much of a madman. I will need to go and eat at some point. But we'll get ourselves through a few of them. Like I say, I think we generally have a pretty good chance of, yeah, 2 or 3, and then we can just do 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 there. Like, we'll just, like, start a couple streams early, and we'll slowly get through these through the week. Obviously, it's kind of a little bit mishapped, right? Because my schedule was already packed. My schedule only got more packed with these qualifiers coming around, and now I have to find a time to kind of, cast these games that, you know what I mean. So, you guys know what I'm saying. You guys get me. As we, do get underway with the proxy racks. In the middle of the map, 2 racks setting up, and Solar has kind of flown around them, so he's not really going to get a chance to see them. And it's kind of, you know what, ByuN has been proxy racks in a lot of the last few days, and he's been very good and creative with the positions. He's been really, really good at avoiding overload pathing, and you can see Solar's afraid of it as well. Like, he's really genuinely scouting for this, and he just completely misses the marker. And now the first bunker's already coming up. Now he sees this. The bunker's already got almost half HP on it. We're going to see this Marine coming in, and it's going to put some damage onto this hatchery. So a bit of damage being done. As you do have the bunker, as mentioned, about halfway along as well. Just going to see the Lings and the Queens continue to come on through here. And that Baneling, not Baneling, sorry, that Extractor coming through might give you Banelings at some point in this game, but definitely not right now. Great setup for ByuN. He's even going to chase and get a Zergling kill. That's great as well, of course, because any unit you get rid of here is less chance for Solar to really break out of this bunker. And everything right now is about trying to kill this hatchery. If you can kill this hatchery off as ByuN, you're probably going to have a pretty good time. So a few Marines just nibbling away at that hatch, dealing some damage here, and we do have a few drones coming down the round to try and defend this. Ideally, Solar wants to defend this hatch. Kind of surprised ByuN didn't try and build a second bunker or anything. I know he's transitioning at home and everything, but a second bunker here, and imagine you just have one more bunker right now. It wouldn't have slowed down his Marine count at all, and he would have been able to still be around. Maybe not in range of the hatchery, but then you have somewhere to fall back to. He has killed one Queen. He's killed a lot of Lings. If nothing else, I think ByuN is still coming out of this in a good position. Resources lost heavily favors him. He might not kill the hatchery, which would have been the dream scenario, but he is about to expand himself. It's kind of close. Like I say, he's traded very well. He will keep on trading. You know, Lings are still being made to defend this. Again, expansion of his own should begin right about now, and he is going to put that down on the low ground. So it is going to be not a high ground. You don't have to float it down into position or anything along those lines. As these Lings run through, these Marines are in a bit of trouble. And a few of those guys being picked off, as that is going to be the cleanup finally from Solar. So Solar shuts it down. At the end of it, all resources lost actually does even out a little bit. So a little bit better for Solar then, with the CC already just having to build in location. You see a couple of Hellions on the way out here from ByuN, so they're going to pop and try to cover this natural as the Lings do come down in towards this natural expansion. So Lings coming down here, and SCV gets picked off, and this command center in a little bit of trouble. Again, the Hellions there to push the Zerglings away, and the other 2 barracks of ByuN are going to pull it back down to the bottom left-hand side as well. So they're going to pull it back. And yeah, and this hatch just continued through, taking an inject or so. And the Lings speed continue to move around as well. So after all is said and done, I mean, ByuN's going to go into this medevac. So he's going to go for this Hellion drop follow-up, which he's been kind of favoring lately as well. See if that's something you can make use of. Maru did this to Solar the other day, and he played a really cool mind game on Solar. It was on Lightshade, and Maru flew the medevac into the main, and all the units went to the main base after the medevac, and the Hellions just ran into the natural and roasted like 10 additional drones, and it was the play that really won Maru the game, following up from a proxy racks that did okay. It was kind of a similar scenario. we come out of it, and yeah, it was kind of touch and go. Neither player was really, like, massively ahead. And then it was that play that really just put Maru into the lead, and he was able to close that out. That was in the ace match of the World Team League. This is the sort of stuff you're missing, guys, if you don't tune into the World Team League every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Maru and Solar playing ace matches and stuff. It's good. It's good Starcraft too. Let me tell you that much. Now the Armory is going to finish. The ByuN is actually not going to go for this Hellion drop as I thought he was. He's actually going to lift up the Marines, and he's going to turn this into a Hellbat attack. Banshee's on the follow-up to it as well. So man, ByuN is playing like hyper aggressive. Like this is just, and in a very different way to how ByuN usually plays. Like ByuN hyper aggressive, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like ByuN. But hyper aggressive before you get up to Stim, Medivacs, and like a lot of bio units. No, that's not ByuN. ByuN does not play aggressively off, factory and starport units anywhere near as much as this. Like he mixes it in. But this is like really just one round after another of big connections and big hits as a couple of Hellions try to escape away. These Lings still getting roasted up a little bit, so a few of those Lings going down. Reactor is going to finish up on the factory, and SCVs do pull in to push those Zerglings back once again. So a couple of the Lings will get cleaned up. I mean, full scout from Solar into the main base, though, right? You get a barracks count. You see there's no third CC just yet. So you get a lot of information that you weren't really able to gain otherwise because, well, your early game overlords went scouting for proxy racks. I don't believe they ever really got into the main base for information. ByuN is still building Hellions, so he's going to have round 2 of this Hellbat attack. And that's something else you see as Solar. Factory still on the reactor. And then obviously the Starport and Tech Lab as well. So that's something to think about now, as we do have the Banshee putting a bit of damage in. Let's pull it back a little bit. Bit of back and forth continuing. Engineering bays are still coming through here from ByuN in the back of this natural. As we do have our Hellion forces going to move up to the top side. Gets a group teamer as we go. Just going to see the Queen in a little bit of trouble. The Banes are going to waddle forwards. Getting picked away at as well. This is actually not bad at all for ByuN. Going back and forth here. Ling Bane taking some shots. The extra Banes are going to finish morphing. Queens are going to be able to turn around, shoot down that Banshee. Banshee falls. The Hellions trying to move up the ramp. The Queens are there to turn that around. Now we've got this Banshee that gets shot down by a Queen also. So that Queen little squad in the main base does pretty darn okay. Spire coming up now from Solar as we get set up behind the natural expansion. Okay, let's pull back around to the left. Let's see our Hellions again just joined together. The Queen's setting up in the center too. We have that Spire coming in. A couple of additional racks still coming out down. There's that Baneland speed coming through on the Baneland nest, and just going to see our other Hellions making their way out down the bottom. So, moving around the map here, as Marines and Medivacs are going to try and push around the right-hand side, it would seem. Solar. Queens joined up, Marines, tanks, Medivacs all joining together as well, and just going to be seeing the push up into this high ground in a moment or two. Marines just going to stem up. I'm going to go in for this hatch. Railings and Queens are kind of pushed back a little bit. Couple tank shots continue to fire out. It's coming in, that hatchery still taking damage. The Queen's wanting to move through as well. I mean, you can see the army of ByuN kind of, playing with the idea of going backwards and forwards. Ling Bane continues to run through. Tank fire is going to come in. Yeah, those Banes continuing on into this right now is a couple of Hellbats going to get caught. I mean, this is not really it for ByuN. It did not really do enough. ByuN is going to be cleaned up in an instant. And Solar, well, it's just going to take a bit of a lead off of that. So Honestly, Solar's defense in this game in general has just been good. Resources lost is even, which for TvZ is a good sign for the Zerg. Usually you're playing from a bit behind. You can see that Solar's gotten up to that 82 drone count already. So he's really rocking a pretty decent drone count along this as well. It's looking good in that regard, as our mutas are going to turn it back around through the center of the map once again. Tank is just going to be set up sieging here. Marina middle lane kind of settling down on the sides. I figure out what they're going to do. Again, a few more Banes coming down. The Queens will settle up as well. Again, 2-2 melee upgrades coming through. The 2-2 engineering base. Also, infestation pit drops down into the back of the main base. We just want to move towards this natural. Marines are here and just going to put a bit of damage out onto the Mutalisks. Nothing crazy. I mean, the Mutalisks obviously quick to turn around. What ByuN has been very good at lately, and what we saw from him in the Spring Championship Day 1, was that he was very good at just saying, you know what, this game ain't going so hot for me right now. Let's just slow it down, pull it back. Let's just kind of go from there, you know. Let's just go from a different angle and play a long game and let you kind of run into me. I don't know if you can do that in this game, though, because, like I say, you've not traded well initially. So I think it is maybe essential for you to get a bit more aggressive and to keep up the fights right now, moving up this ramp. And we are going to go take down a couple spine crawlers right away, so they get eliminated. So a couple of spines go down right from the start here. A couple of scans. Creep tumors are still dropping. Now Ling Bane Mutaforce is having to think about diving in on top of this Marine tank army. So here we go. That's going to be seeing a couple of tanks get picked off. The Marine's going to load back into the medevacs here and pulling it back away down to the bottom left-hand side. On the top side, looks like a medevac got taken down. A few Marines get out. Widow Miners, can they find any magic right now? A little bit of damage, not really a lot. Solar just has complete control of this, and he is going to storm the front line of ByuN. Not really much else to say. This game is done. This game is wrapped up, and Solar is going to take the first map of this best of 3 series against ByuN. And we dive on into Romanticide. Starting off in the top left-hand side, our red Zerg player from KyZ Gaming is Solar. Taking on the blue Terran in the bottom right corner of the map. It's going to be the Shopify Rebellion's ByuN. Game 2 of this best of 3. And as we do have our first SCVs moving across, and ByuN decides it's time to proxy up a couple of barracks all over again. So aggressive once more as we settle down. Spawn and pool first from Solar. Okay, Solar. To be fair, ByuN has been proxy raxing an abnormal amount lately. I don't think there's anything wrong with opening a bit of pool first against ByuN right now, because whatever phase he's going through, it involves a lot of proxy racks. That's what's up right now as we settle ourselves down here. Just gonna see the drone coming down. Wants to build the hatcher on the natural expansion. A couple of these racks, as mentioned, going to be coming in. Gas on the main of ByuN gets set up. As they do just have the Overlord kind of pressing forward. The other Overlord left-hand side setting forwards as well. Why is Corruptor Ling Bane never a thing? Because Corruptors don't do anything useful in a fight. The thing is, if you go Corruptors, if you go Corruptors, what are you really trying to achieve? Is these Lings just going to come through? And this is obviously not pretty for ByuN. In fact, this is rather disastrous for him. Question mark. Pool first. Yeah, man. Corruptor Ling Bane. So there was a while where I used to go Ling Bane Corruptor. Nah, it's just not really good anymore because you've got no counterattack potential with the Corruptors. And realistically, you just don't have the damage output. So you're putting gas into an army unit, which really just doesn't benefit you at all. It used to be a thing, and I believe it was Dark maybe started trying to do it, and this was years ago when Tasia was really good. And I love Tasia's response to it, because he just saw Ling Bane corrupt, and he's like, cool, I'm just going to play mass marine tank. because you're putting gas units into corruptors instead of, you know, full-on Bane, so you don't have as many Banes as if you played like pure Ling Bane, and you don't have a fast transition, so I can just play Marine Tank forever, because, again, you're just not going to trade very well. You can shut down Medivacs, sure, but what does it matter if you're shutting down Medivacs if you're not going to win the fight anyway? Well, Ling's going down. As we see now, racks continuing to spread around here. Ling speed is going through the starport building in the main, and the command center is going to be dropped down into this main base as well. So again, that command center up and running. As the barracks flies through, the couple of queens going to put some damage out, and this group spread is pressing forward. It's obviously not a great start from ByuN. Proxy racks was shut down right before it even got going, and from there, Solar, I mean, fast third hatch. I mean, ByuN's obviously late on this natural CC because of the way this got going. That's kind of it right now. He's grabbing a Ling. There's going to be some more Lings out in the center. A couple of command centers on the way. So ByuN is going to try and play 3CC off of this, but again, he's going to be playing that from a deficit. He's definitely going to be playing from behind. This ain't a pretty place to be if you're ByuN right now, that's for sure. Recently, Korean Terrans really liked proxy raxing. Innovation proxy racks a little bit recently as well. What was I watching Innovation anyway? It's just proxy racks on the whole bunch. I don't remember. Oh wow, ByuN's gonna go Raven. You know, this is an interesting choice. I don't really know what I want to say about the Raven even. It's just straight up interesting. It's a little bit different from what you would typically imagine. Right? Definitely a little different in that regard. Just going to see this Raven coming through about halfway done then. As you have our lair building up from Solar in the main base. But the way the Raven is rallied, it kind of looked like it was just going to go out onto the map as well. Maybe you just want to team the Raven and the Banshee up. Because you lose a lot of early game map control, maybe you feel like you need the Raven detection to try and help with creep spread a bit. I just don't see what kills off the creep spread, because there's just one Banshee. There's no Hellions, you know what I mean? So then I think that that's probably not the case. It's just going to be this Raven flying across and setting up order turrets to try and deal some damage. Raven is going to go up the left-hand side, is going to be moving into the back of this natural. Drops an auto turret down, a couple of these Lings being picked away at. I mean, that's the thing, the Raven just doesn't do much auto turret harassing when you're playing a ZVT, because, well, it doesn't kill a probe super quick. The Lings are a very good and efficient tool to just go and run and go and deal with that. Yeah, I'm not convinced about the Raven just yet, but happy to see what he uses it for further down the line. This just feels like a game where Solar is getting out of hand, you know? Like, it just feels like he is going to go crazy in this situation right now. Just going to go jumping on the rocks. We do have the endless speed about to finish up. Overlord speed coming through as well. A few additional SCVs all on the way out. The medevacs, the marines, everything continuing. How's our army of ByuN just going to be moving over toward the left-hand side. A couple other marines is going to go up. Overseer is going to get pushed away. Armory goes down the naturals. ByuN is going to be Moving out with these Marines. Raven is going to come and join up with this as well, so everything joined together is 1-1 upgrades. Coming in on the engineering base, our melee upgrades are still coming through. We push all the way out into the center of this as we do get rid of a first creep team. A couple creep teamers going down. Medevac lift up just going to maintain those Marines, not letting their counter drop at all. Well, I mean, a little bit of creep spread killed, but I mean, you're also still in a situation where that's the most pressure you really put on Solar all game long. Again, you kind of come into this game losing out on that proxy racks, and essentially you play from behind the entire time. You know, if ByuN wants to play a longer game, now would maybe be the time to do it as well, right? He's actually got a 4th CC up in the main as well. Like, maybe now is just the time you just go mass eco, you just go prepare late game, and you just go from there. But I don't see what you do when Solar has this much control of a map like Romanticize. Romanticize is difficult to attack on a lot of the time anyway. Not so much in TvZ, because the push through the center can be so effective in TvZ, and the pushing power in that direction. Obviously, pushing power doesn't really exist when the Zerg completely controls your push lane. So it's a little bit rough in that regard. As Marines stem forward, they're going to grab a Queen, make that 2. And the Crypt Team is at the frontier being cleaned out as well. As we pull back, the Marines going to lift back into Medevacs. These couple of Medevacs are going to bring units back away the bottom right side as well. Banshee still just setting up. Got the Infestation Pit about to complete as well as 2-2 melee upgrades coming into play too as well, also right now. I think that my Marines stimming forwards grabs the first Queen already, so first Queen drops. It's going to have the Raven there as well. Still joining everything up together, and just going to be seeing our Lurker Den. Setting up in the main base, getting that ready to go. Additional Vikings coming through. ByuN going to get the extra racks up in the main. Here come the Marines, going to get ran at. And the Raven just going to help to back this up a little bit. A couple of things are going to go start running forward. Ow, massive anti-armor missiles. That is going to dissuade Solar from committing to the fight. And of course, at the same time, I'll go back to kind of, you know, the record on repeat that I was before. Solar's kind of just doing what he wants anyway. He's about to get the Lurker Den, he's about to have hives, so he's going to get those Lurker upgrades, he's going to get to Lurkers, and his composition is only improving. Now, beyond setting up sensor towers and so on, makes me believe he really might be just readying up for a longer kind of sat-back game. Tanks coming through, Vikings so you can deal with Vipers a little bit. Obviously, the Ghost Academy is going to be essential for those snipes. And some Hydras are going to jump on those rocks. Marines will come through, killing off this Overlord, so that will go down. Again, the Lingbane Hydra Force here setting up as we do have all of these Banelings continuing to morph in. Setting up to run this army toward the Terran 4th base. Here you go, Marines on the left-hand side. An anti-armor missile drops on the right. Solar going to come in through and try and bust this. This is going to be basically his big attack before he moves into Lurkers into the follow-up, I'd imagine. And honestly, didn't really do that great. I mean, ByuN trades pretty decently. Of course, he should. Anti-armor missiles were down, and he had so many siege tanks in position. Well, it gives you a bit of hope if you're a ByuN fan, because look at what Solar doesn't have. A bank. He actually isn't able to instantly rebuild into that kind of maxed out army and go again. And that's usually the case when a Zerg attacks you like that. They usually are just looking to trade out, not really necessarily very well, but because they have a bank and they can just rebuild, go again, and win with the second push because they're able to rebuild faster than the Terran player, who just isn't able to then gather up enough defense. But that won't be the case here. Yes, Solar's going to remax here eventually, but compared to how fast it usually should have been, it should have been like an instant remax for this kind of style of work, I'd say, and that's obviously just absolutely not the case just yet. Well, ByuN knows that again, slow and steady is going to be the way to win this race. You don't get to go pushing anywhere very quickly with this map. Looking like this, all of this creep spread dotted all over it, etc. A bit of Lingbane pushed out over that far right-hand side. Ready to maybe go for a push down toward the center here. Maybe looking for that. Nidus is on the way up here from Solar as well. The bottom side of this Soul's gonna run an Overseer in. A little changeling drops in. Says hello, what's up guys? Hi. Go. Gonna run into this. Bane's gonna come on through. I mean, again, this is just the second round of the same attack we saw before. Can ByuN hold on in the same kind of way? Problem this time is lurkers are gonna start showing up and burrowing up on top of this army. And this time Solar definitely has a better trade. This time he doesn't drop as low in supply. And he has a bank to rebuild. Like, he should be able to remax him pretty much right away. He's actually lava starved, right? Because he has more money, he's just not spent it. But this time it's gonna have that kind of like follow-up impact that I was kind of talking about previously, where now ByuN is going to take a few moments to rebuild, while Solar is pretty much maxed out again. A few more lurkers and a few Banes need to morph in still, but round 2 of this is pretty much ready to go, and Solar still has money to spare for a round after as well if he feels or deems it necessary. So here we go again. I mean, it's still tough for ByuN. One thing ByuN does need to do at some stage is find a way to bring out these defenses while defending the 5th base. He's going to try and take that 5th base now. Obviously, with this amount of bases from Solar, you need to be able to defend more than just 4 bases at some point. Here we go again. This one's a bit better for ByuN initially. His lurker's taking a long time to get into range of anything. As they do burrow up, they get a couple tanks, and the supply drops a bit more into Solar's favor, but yeah, I mean, of course, one of the big things you're doing all the way throughout this is you are stopping the 4th base from ever mining properly, so that definitely helps. As these 2 knights get denied, good from ByuN not to allow Solar to make things work or make attacks work elsewhere. It's enough trouble dealing with the frontal attacks right now, never mind the ones elsewhere. I mean, this is tough though. I mean, you've got the 5th CC trying to move out, the 4th has not been back down and mining instantly here just yet. That's obviously pretty rough. Also, do you see additional Banes and lurkers continuing through? Lurkers in a lot of trouble. They're gonna get cleaned out pretty easily, actually. So ByuN still taking losses, though, and I mean, this orbital command is super low, and it's probably gonna die. I mean, Banes can push the SCVs from repairing it. Hydras maybe could have stayed on top. In fact, they will go for it. They will get the kill. So now what do you do? You bring this command center back across. A couple of lurkers actually got out of this Nidus network, so we are going to see just a bit of harassment here. Not going to be too bad. It does have some units in the main base to handle it, but again, the lack of mining outside of the now 3 bases, which are obviously well on the way to being mined out, is a massive problem, and there's just no way ByuN can draw this game out enough to do what he needs to do. Tank shots firing away. Things and lurkers back over to the right. Plus 2 missiles going to finish on the Evo chamber between the bases right now. Another hatchery about to complete here from Solar as well. Hydra is chipping away at the command centers. We do see the Ling Lurker Hydra Force going to come running through. Try and jump in on top of this. Tanks getting picked off right away. Hydras and Banes coming through this, and we do have pretty good cleanup once again. Just called. Solar is just going to win it out. I mean, how many times can you be hit by the battering ram and still, you know, have your door shut strong? Well, not